Hej, goedemiddag alla. Vi har funderat var en episode med en gäst upp. Och vinst att vi för Bethany för lite man vill en English stöd. Har vi då det stort ju doen. But vi var en dessa väg med väg var vi har en episode releasing upload each. Dan för det att det nicht English kan an måste ju med ju waren. All right. We have another Plutarsten up English.
Up English, yes.
Yep. Today we have a guest, Bethany Klassen. And the reason I asked you on is because I'm super jealous of what you're doing, like writing books. I think that's super cool. So I guess, yeah, I'll maybe start off with what have you written? What have you published? And talk about.
Sounds good. I have written 3 books. Well, okay, I've written more than 3 books, but I've published 3 books. I started out with historical fiction because that's what I love. I love historical fiction. It comes the easiest to me, I feel like. And so I started out with that. It was supposed to be a standalone, but then all the readers were like, we need a sequel. So I came out with a second book for that one. That is, so the first book is Sins of the Past, and then the second book is Tomorrow's Promise.
All right. Can you actually, I want to see one.
Yes, gladly.
I think my sister has one of those. Sins of the Past looks familiar.
All right,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, that one has been the most popular so far. I know guys and girls both like it because it's not too much romance in there.
Okay.
And it's just a good old Western, but definitely like with a Christian theme as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tomorrow's Promise has a little more of the romance in there. So that's more the girls that like that one.
All right.
But it is the sequel to Sins of the Past. And then now recently I did this one, the contemporary fiction. So that one is about a bull rider. So that is modern day, which I also really enjoyed. I usually go with historical fiction, but this time I went with that one, and it was a lot of fun switching it up a little bit. So
All right.
yeah,
So-
that's what I've done so far.
Going back to the beginning, where did you start? How did that idea start in your head, and how did you make a reality of writing books?
Well, I've always enjoyed writing pretty much as long as I can remember. I remember as a little kid, I would staple together pages and I would write my story in there and draw the pictures. And it was funny because I would staple together a certain amount of pages, and once I got to the end, then that was my book. I had to quickly reach a conclusion. So that's how I started out, and I've just always really enjoyed writing. It's a hobby that I've done since I learned to write, really. But then as I got older, I realized I wanted to, publishing was always a dream of mine, even when I was younger. And as I got older, I just realized that there is a need for good fiction for especially young people, fiction that is interesting. It's not too Christian, where it's like really preachy,
Right.
where there's lots of action still, and there's lots going on in the book, and it's interesting, but it's clean, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I wanted to do that, and because I enjoy writing, to me it's a hobby and a career at the same time.
We're going to pause the episode here. This episode is sponsored by Morning Sky Coffee. We're big fans of what Juan is doing. We actually did a whole episode with him. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out.
Mm-hmm. I've consumed this coffee myself for over a year. At the gym, I've sold it, and also at my home, and I've really loved it so far. It's one of the best ones out there.
Yeah, no, it's. I always look forward to doing the podcast because we get to drink this coffee.
Yep.
So if you want to buy the beans, you can just contact Juan directly. His phone number it's a WhatsApp. So it's 625-115-3296. We're also going to put his information in the description.
Mm-hmm. And with that, you don't just support a small local Mennonite business, but you also support the Plutarsten podcast.
That's right. So back to the episode. Like, writing has always been a hobby of mine too.
Okay.
But I clearly don't have a book published.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know, what's the biggest hurdle from going from someone that likes to write to having a book published? Or even like having something worth publishing? Like, what would you say is the biggest hurdle?
For me, there's 2 things that I think of right away. One thing is you have to consider the amount of time and effort that's going to go into it, and you have to decide if that's worth it to you. And so that's something I had to think about And at this stage in my life, I felt like it was the best time that I'll have for publishing books, and I decided to go for it.
Right.
And to me, it has been worth it. And then secondly, though, coming from, writing as a hobby to writing as a job, you have to be okay with people reading your work,
Right.
which for me was a hurdle because I was always I would let my family read my books, but no one else. And I felt kind of self-conscious about it. And so I had to get to the point where I was okay with other people reading my books and be okay with accepting criticism, because you need that to
Right.
to get your book
Right.
from the point of, rough draft to being something worth publishing. So
Why do you think that is? Why are we so self-conscious about showing people what our writing?
I think because it's something that comes from our heart, and
Okay.
we're expressing ourselves, right?
Right.
And it's almost like an artist or a musician or anyone who's creating something. It's something that that you've come up with and you like, and and then to have someone else come along and criticize it, even if it's friendly criticism, it hurts a little bit.
And you have to be vulnerable, right?
Yeah, exactly.
In order to do that.
It's a sense of vulnerability. Yeah.
So one thing that I read once was the author's name is important on the book, like how it sounds. So, and I know some authors changed their name to an artistic name, right, to sound
Right.
different. You chose to stick with yours. Was that ever a thing that you considered doing, changing your artist name to to another name that is not yours?
I did, yes.
Okay.
And I researched it because I was curious about why people use a pen name, right?
Right.
And one thing that really made sense to me that I read was, unless you have a reason for changing your name to a pen name, you should probably just stick with your name, because in the beginning, when you're starting out, unless you have a huge audience already, but if you're starting out from the ground and working your way up, people are going to remember your name as what they know you as. Like, people know me as Bethany Klassen. So when they look at my books, they're going to remember my name, Bethany Klassen. But if I use a pen name, they're not necessarily going to remember that. So they'll have a harder time finding my books if I use a pen name. And so there are reasons for using pen names. Sometimes people who start out with one genre, but then they go to something completely different, they'll use a pen name for the next genre so that it kind of separates the two. Or if they want to stay anonymous and they just want to, use a pen name so that they're not known for that specifically.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. And it has to have a certain ring to it, right? There's names
Yeah.
that just don't even make sense to put on a book. But I feel like your name is, for what you write, it looks pretty good. Like, it makes sense to put your name on the books.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that too. I know depending on what genre you go into, some people's names, they would want to change it. Or even sometimes they'll, instead of using their first name, they'll just use the, what's the name?
Surname?
Yeah, just the surname. And that works too. So it does depend on the genre, definitely.
Okay. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
So, okay, I guess I'm curious. What does the process look like of writing a book?
It's a little bit different for each person, I guess,
Right.
each writer. But it would typically be about the same. Usually it would be gathering ideas, doing the research, all of that, and kind of forming the idea in your mind. For me, I always have ideas in my mind that are just slowly forming as I think about them and process them. But then once I'm actually serious about writing that book, I'll start doing the research. And often as I am researching, I get even more ideas for the story itself. And then I'll do the rough draft, which is just, putting down all your ideas. Everyone's rough drafts look different. Some people
Right.
are more perfectionist with their rough drafts. Some rough drafts are very rough. So they're all different.
Are you when you write, do you outline your story, or are you more of a discovery writer, where you have the ideas and you let the characters kind of figure out who they are, what the conclusion is going to be?
I do plan out my story, yeah. I
Okay.
use an outline.
Okay.
Yeah. I do change it up later. I've
Right.
sometimes ended up changing characters, or sometimes as I write the story, they kind of change themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do plan it out in the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have so Well, maybe you won't nerd out too much, but do you use like certain, maybe not yeah, it's kind of like a formula, but like there's like the story circle or hero's journey, any of those, like to create your plot beats, story beats?
Yeah, like the three main. Well, you'll realize how little I know about this because I don't know all the vocabulary. But
Right.
there's like the three acts of
The
the
3 act
story, right?
structure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really do that. No.
Okay.
No. I've researched it a little bit and I find it very fascinating and I think it helps me with my writing, but not that I will map out my story in that way.
Right.
Yeah. No, for me it's more just a basic outline, the typical like just the points,
Right.
one under the other.
How long does it take? Well, I guess research alone probably takes a while. Hey, just like to gather your ideas.
Yeah, it does. And I love research, but I have a problem where I research a certain amount and then I start writing my story. And then later I research more and I realize that I made mistakes in my story because I haven't researched thoroughly enough.
Right.
So then I end up having to go and change it later. So yeah, but I do try and I'm trying to do better with that where I research a lot before my book. With 7 seconds, I did a lot more of that.
Right.
I feel like I was very thorough with the research for that one, and I did a lot of that before I actually wrote the book so that it would be accurate.
So 7 seconds, it revolves a lot around bull riding and rodeo. Do you kind of have you been in that world? Like, do you kind of know from personal experience, or did you have to?
No, I haven't. No. I actually got in touch with a friend who she has been in that world. She hasn't competed in any rodeo sports as far as I know, but her husband is a bronc rider.
Okay.
And so he has friends who are bull riders. And so she was able to answer a lot of questions for me. And that was very, very helpful. And otherwise, I just did a lot of my own research and I watched a ton of bull riding. I started to really enjoy it because,
Okay.
yeah, I was, with any sport, the more you get to know about it, you start to notice like when they've done a good job, when it's been a good ride, how the bull has performed,
Right.
and all of these different things. So I just did a lot of research, but not that I've ever been in that world.
Okay.
What is the biggest difference between riding as a hobby and riding as a job per se?
The amount of commitment and the effort and the time that you put into it.
Increases dramatically when you make it to your vocation.
Oh yes.
How about pressure wise? Stress?
Yeah. I'm not very organized. So for me, I publish independently. So I have the flexible schedule, which is not always a good thing because I will, in busy seasons of life, I'll tend to put my books to the side and I don't work with them like I should. And then sales will drop because of that.
Right.
And so I have no one to blame but myself. And so I end up, being annoyed at myself for it. So yeah, like the pressure is definitely there that I should be putting in the time, and sometimes I don't and sometimes I do. But I would say that's the biggest difference.
Okay, so how long have you been doing this as a job now?
I published my first book 2 years ago, Sins of the Past. So that was when the first one came out. And before that, I've written a lot of other books. I just haven't published them yet.
And you plan on publishing those as well? Refine them and...
I've thought of some of them, but I don't know if I will, because a lot of them I wrote when I was younger and I would need to change them a lot before I would actually publish them. So I might just start fresh and just keep on writing new books.
Right.
So, back to the process. So now you've done your research. And now you start writing. How long do you spend on your first draft? And how much do you write a day? Like during the writing season?
Again, I'm not very organized. So for me, it depends on what's all going on in my life at that time. I don't stick to a strict schedule. I will try to put in time for writing every day, but more often it happens where I will spend like almost a whole day writing and then I won't write for a couple days.
Okay.
And then often I end up also writing in the evening. Like after the family goes to bed, I will sit up and write, late into the night. That's my thinking time. So it's not that I know that's a good idea. It's a good idea to have a certain amount every day to, write on your book. But I just kind of fit it in where I can.
Right.
I would say the rough draft takes me, when I'm working diligently at it, at the most like half a year.
Okay.
With 7 seconds, I actually had started it years ago. So I had maybe like a quarter of the book written, and now I just came back to it and changed it up and kind of rewrote it. So that one was kind of spread out over more time. I kind of wrote and then left it alone for a while, and then I came back to it. So I can't really say exactly how long it took me for the rough draft.
And once that is done, is that when you let other people read it, or do you then?
I do some self-editing first.
Okay.
Yeah. I like to iron out some of the wrinkles
Right.
and just switch some things around, and then I'll usually go through it once, and then I'll let like close friends or family read it,
Right.
and then I'll do some more self-editing, and then I'll actually send it out to beta readers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are beta readers? Because I'm not very familiar with the whole writing process and stuff. So
Beta readers are just there to help you get your book to the point where it's the best it can be, pretty much. I mean, they're not editors, but they will read your book and they'll give you feedback on it. So they'll tell you, okay, this needs to be clarified. This is too repetitive. This was confusing to me. Like just things like that. They'll just point things out throughout the book.
professionals or just ordinary people that
Just
read
ordinary people. Yeah.
Okay.
Very, very helpful, because those are who your readers are going to be, right? So
Right.
it's nice to get feedback from just ordinary readers.
Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't know that. So
Yep.
So, what does that feel like? Like
Getting the feedback.
getting the feedback, or what kind of feedback do you normally get?
Oh, all kinds of feedback. I like to have lots of different beta readers, because they all focus on different things. Yeah, I've had, some guys read my books and they'll point out like mistakes I've made with the vehicles, or, things like
Right.
that. And then I'll have girls, though, they read my books and they point out other things. And so they all point out something different. It's sometimes mistakes I've made with facts, or it's things that I haven't explained clearly enough, or parts where they feel like it transitions too abruptly from one scene to the next, or just all kinds of random feedback. And it's good. Like in the beginning, I found it a little bit hard to take the constructive criticism, but as I realized how much it helped me to improve my writing, I've started to really, really appreciate it and even enjoy getting the feedback.
Right.
So, what did the first, I guess you could say it this way, what did it look like for you to publish your first book? Where did you go to try and sell it? What people were involved? What was the whole experience like?
Well, it was a good experience. It was a lot to learn. I published through Amazon. They have a self-publishing platform. It's called KDP, or
Okay.
Kindle Direct Publishing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's set up in a very simple way. You pretty much upload your formatted manuscript and your cover design, and then they will print on demand. So when somebody orders a book through Amazon, they'll just print it out and send it directly to them. So it works very well that way. So I just published I've only published through Amazon so far. And so that part was easy. But I've also tried to get my book into stores, especially locally. There's several stores around here. There's Buchstaben in Campo 6.5. They've sold a lot of copies for me, and various other stores where I've had my books there as well. I would say those were the easier parts. For me, it was harder to do things like my website design and my mailing list and the marketing and just preparing all of that kind of stuff. That was, for me, much more of a learning curve.
Right. So, going forward, do you plan on doing this as a full-time thing? Or is that just a season in your life that you maybe want to do now and then not focus on it that much anymore?
It won't ever be full-time. I don't expect it to ever be full-time. I do hope to continue with it. Yeah, there will be changes coming in my life soon because I'll be getting married and moving to Canada. So that
Congratulations.
will, thank you. So that will be bringing some changes. But I do hope to, as I have time, keep on publishing books. It might just be at a slower rate.
Mm-hmm.
And then years in the future, I could probably dedicate more time to it again.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't want to give it up completely. So yeah.
Well, I find it super cool that a plot has published their own books. I'm very fond of people who, especially from the plot community, who try and do something different and they actually excel in it, or they do something nobody else has dared of doing, and they actually succeeded in doing that. So I want to congratulate you on that.
Oh, thank you
That's
so
pretty
much.
Do you have a community, like a group of people where you, a writing community?
No, not really. I know some people, there are a lot of communities out there. There is Facebook groups, there is, Instagram. I wouldn't say that I'm like part of a community, but I do have connections with other authors and writers for sure.
Right.
It's just not like a designated group chat or group
Right.
on Facebook or anything.
Because I think even in our community, there's enough people here to create a writing community, but there's
True.
all out there kind of on their own,
Yeah.
trying to figure it out. So
And they don't all know about each other, right?
Right, yeah.
Because in this area, I heard about you today that you are interested in writing or that you do writing. And I know of one other friend of mine that writes as well. And those are the only people I know in this area, but I know that there must be more.
yeah.
Yeah.
Would you ever let your translate your books into Plotich?
I might. I've considered High German. People have suggested that before, High German or Spanish. But it's not something I've considered anytime soon. It's
Right.
more like something in the future if I wanted to, reach a wider audience.
Right. I mean, I feel Plotich, you might just have to do audiobooks because
Yeah,
People
it's a
like-
bit hard to read,
we like
right?
to listen to stuff.
Yeah. Audiobooks would definitely work. Somebody who's good at it, they could do that. It just wouldn't be me. So I would have to find someone who knew how.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what, in your opinion, what makes a good story?
Well, I would say 3 things.
Okay.
One would be good characters. For me, I love getting to know the characters in books. And some books they have amazing characters where they feel like real people because they have their strengths, they have their weaknesses, they have their quirks and their personality and everything. Other books, the characters are just there to have the story move forward, and you don't feel like they're just these cookie cutter characters that are the same as any other book. So you need good characters for sure. And then secondly, there would be a good style. You definitely need a good writing style because for me, I've sometimes picked up a book. One time in particular, I'm thinking of, I picked up a book from a very popular author, and I read about 2 pages of it, and I did not like the style, her writing style. It just sounded too, it didn't sound unique. It sounded very boring to read.
Generic.
Yeah, very generic. Exactly. And so I didn't even get further into the book. I just put it back down. So you need a good style. You need a style that fits the genre, and you need a style that people enjoy reading,
Right.
where it's got, good, colorful words and, that people enjoy reading it. And different readers enjoy different styles. So there's that too. So yeah, you need that. And then you need a unique plot as well, which fits together with the character and the style, right? Because if you have a good style and good characters, that will help the plot a lot already. But again, I've read some books where they all seem to kind of follow the same exact storyline. And it is hard to be unique as a writer because there are just certain things that everyone tends to write about. But within those tropes or those storylines, you can still be unique. And
Right.
I love it when I read a book and they keep me guessing, or I think that I know what's happening, then all of a sudden they throw me for a loop. And I've read a couple of books like that, and it's just fun. I love books like that. So
Right.
that's what I would say. Those 3 things.
Who do you like? I guess. Who do you look up to the most when it comes to writing? Or who do you try to emulate? Or do you not try to emulate anyone?
I do. And I notice that whatever book I'm reading at the time of writing my own book, my style starts to sound like their style. So I have a couple favorite authors. I like now the names aren't coming to mind.
Oh,
I should have written them down.
That's fine.
Okay, so there's Hannah Linder.
Okay.
I look up to her for a couple of reasons. I wouldn't endorse all of her books necessarily,
Right.
but she has a beautiful style. And I also look up to her as an author because she does a very good job with her mailing list.
Okay.
The emails that she sends out are just fun to read. Like they're the kind of emails that you look forward to getting them. So I look up to her for that. And then there's a couple other authors that I also really enjoy. I like Tracy Peterson. She does a very good job. She has a good style, and she does a good job with making her books unique. She has different series, and her series actually are different from each other. They're not just all the same. And then there's another author. I can't think of her name right now. She wrote In Every Heartbeat and My Heart Remembers. And yeah, I can't think of her name right now. I should have written it down.
No, that's fine. We'll
But
put her
yeah.
name on the video.
All right, sounds good. But yeah, I have quite a few authors that I enjoy. Oh, and Lynn Austin. Lynn Austin, I've recently read a few of her books, and she has a gorgeous writing style as well. Definitely would love to try and kind of, get more of that style. She does a very good job.
So do you ever do like this? This is what I do sometimes. Like if I find someone I really like, I'll just start to like copy their books word for word, just to kind of get a sense of how they write. And I just find that so interesting. Like it like opens up something in your brain.
Yeah, I know. Like writing things down, it helps you remember it better, right?
Yeah.
So even with the vocabulary and everything, I've never done that, but that's definitely an idea. I do try to read with the point of trying to build my vocabulary and build my style,
Right.
but often I get so into the book that I forget to pay attention to all of that. But
that is the worst thing, is when you want to take notes on books. It kind of ruins the experience a little bit.
Yeah, it does. You kind of want to be there just to enjoy the storyline and not necessarily be paying attention too much to all the words and stuff.
So would you encourage David to write his own book, actually, and publish it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Or anyone. Is it?
I would like to read your book.
Okay.
I would read your book. What kind of writing do you do?
Well, right now, all my writing is more geared towards screenplays or sketches, more like stuff you can do on stage. But what I read most of the time is fantasy and sci-fi. So I'm a big fan of Brandon Sanderson. I don't know if you're in that world at all.
Actually not, no.
But,
that name doesn't sound familiar to me.
But I do also enjoy like just regular fiction.
To
me, yeah. I don't know.
Sure.
Storytelling is just fascinating.
It is. And it's so, there's so much you can do with it, right? Like there's so many different genres, and there's an audience for every genre, it seems like. It's just you have to find that audience. Sometimes it's a small audience, but there is people out there. If someone described it this way, if you enjoy the books you write, then there's going to be someone else out there who enjoys those types of books as well.
Right. So what would you say to anyone who has a dream? Maybe not just in writing, but any word of advice you could give them to start out?
Well, again, I would go back to, for me, what the hurdles were, and that was I needed to decide. I needed to consider what would go into it as far as time and being committed to it, and effort, and like even financially, what you will all put into that dream, and then you need to decide if that's worth it to you or not. And I think often it is. I think we just tend to hold back because we're scared of committing, and also of what's going to happen with it, right? If it's going to be a success.
Because now it's turning from just like this vague dream that looks very pretty to something real and maybe a little bit ugly.
Yeah, that's true. And we're scared of that, right? Because a dream is something that's dear to our heart and we don't want to see it, fall flat on its face. So, yeah, it's kind of a hard thing, but I think another thing is a person just has to realize that we grow over time. And now looking back at some of the things I did with my first book, I would do them differently now. But I realize that I have grown over the time that I've published these 3 books, and I will more yet. And a person is constantly learning and growing, and that's part of the beauty of achieving your dream, because it's all part of the process.
All these books are stepping stones to who you become, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you have to see it as such. You can't be too perfectionist. I mean, yes, you want to produce quality work, but if you're too perfectionist and you're going to beat yourself up over every mistake that you make, well, then you're not going to get as far, because you're going to be disappointed in yourself. You're not going to have that motivation to keep going.
Right. Don't criticize your past self, I guess.
Because one thing I've learned is that when you, in the beginning, you don't know what perfect looks like. So what you're trying to achieve is really, it's not what you think it is. Because like if I look back 5 years, and I was trying, or even like with podcasts, when we started out, I was trying to achieve perfection. If I would have achieved it, and I look back now, that would have been not nearly perfect, because I didn't know what I was doing, So there's no point trying to shoot for that when you don't know what it is.
And I usually don't look back to the first videos because
Yeah.
hey,
Have you gotten any pushback, or like people saying like why write stuff about, why write fake stories, or like what's the point? Do you ever get that kind of pushback?
I haven't yet. I know there's one author that I really like his stuff, because he talks about how to publish books, and he talked about how when you get your first negative review, like a 1-star review, you should celebrate that as a milestone, because you've reached further than your friends and your family, who are all going to give you good feedback, right? You're actually, this is a real review from someone who doesn't like your work, right? So he said that you should just see it as a positive thing, because your audience is now wide enough that you got a negative review. And I haven't gotten that yet. I've had some more negative reviews, as in like not as many stars, there'll be 3 stars or whatever. But I haven't ever had anyone give any pushback so far.
Or because I think in our local community there would be kind of more of a, people wouldn't see the point to like we want to, like
It's
fiction.
not practical.
Fiction, yeah. Like what's the point in fiction, right? Like,
Yeah.
But what would you say? Why do we write stories? Why do we tell stories?
Well, people like entertainment, and they're going to find entertainment somewhere, right? So when it comes to fiction, if I don't write fiction, then they're going to go just read someone else's fiction. So to me, I do see it as practical, because life isn't all just about work.
Yeah.
We're going to, work during the day, but in the evening when we want to relax and read a book or watch a movie or play a game or, spend time with family and friends, we're going to do those things. So somebody needs to be putting those things out there.
Yeah.
So why not write fiction?
And another thing too I would add is just there's a reason why we look for stories, and it's because it lets us escape, but it also lets us see ourselves in someone else. Like the best story, like even Jesus used stories all the time.
Yeah.
But like for me, like there's been so many stories where I connect with a character, and I see that character overcoming something, and I'm like, I want to do that. Whatever he just did, I want to do that. And then it makes you have more courage and do those things you would normally wouldn't do,
So it directly influences who you are.
Yeah.
That's very true. And I think that that we are influenced by the entertainment that we take in, whether it's movies or books or whatever. Everything that we do influences us, and for that reason, I think it is important that people be reading good books.
Right.
And I know that for me as a teenager, there weren't enough good books. I did a lot of reading, and sometimes I was disappointed because there were certain types of books that I would like to read, but it seemed like all the time when I tried reading that kind of book, it wasn't completely clean, or there were certain things in there that I didn't like about it. And I mean, there's a lot of good Christian books out there, but when it comes to like certain genres, for example, I loved horses. I've always been into horses. I started a series one time as a teen, and I loved it because it was about racehorses and it focused on that. But then as I got further into the series, there were some things in there that I just didn't like about it, and I had to get rid of the series because I just didn't feel good about it. And that was kind of, at that time, I was like, okay, one day I'm going to write
Right.
a series like this that's going to be clean that teens can read. I haven't written a series yet about racehorses, but
Yeah.
it was just an eye opener to me because we are influenced by what we read, and especially for young people, I think it's very important that there is good fiction options for them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really important point, because I don't think we focus nearly enough on what we take in and how much it actually influences us.
Mm-hmm.
We might say, hey, it's just a book, it's just a song, it's just a movie, it's just a friend, whatever it may be. But in the end, if we look back, all those things are what makes us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Very true.
we really got to watch out. And I know we've talked lately about how we can find the deeper meaning in what we do. Like, it's not just we go 100% into ministry to work for God. And I just see what you're doing here. That's also a mission field, a very unique mission field, where you put out good content for people to consume, instead of, I guess, that they consume content that isn't that good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you try to make a difference in that field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very true. And I do write books for several different reasons, and that is the main reason, because I could write books just as a hobby and not publish them, but I see that there is a need, and I would like to try and help fill that need. And also, partly I just enjoy it, and partly it is something to make money with on the side. But it's more fulfilling when it's something that you see that there is a need for, and that you believe, or I believe that the Lord is allowing me to do this. And yeah, it makes it's much more fulfilling than just making money off of it.
Yeah, for sure.
What has been your favorite experience of seeing one of your books in the wild? Or even meeting a fan?
Okay, well, I got to meet a fan this summer, and it was about a 16-year-old girl, and she had really enjoyed both of my books, and she actually painted me, or like made a painting for me and brought it to me, and it was beautifully done. And so she was all excited. She wanted me to sign her books, and she had brought me the painting, and she had done a book report on I can't remember even now which of the books it was, Sins of the Past or Tomorrow's Promise. And so she showed me that and just told me how she had gotten a good mark on it in school and all of that. So that was really fun. That would be one of my favorite fan experiences.
Right. You also mentioned mailing list. Do you have like a newsletter or?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes.
How often do you write, or how often do you put something out?
I try to once a month, but I don't every month. Sometimes it's more than once a month. Usually when there's a book coming up that's going to be releasing soon, then I will do more frequent newsletters. And otherwise, just typically I would try to do once a month.
Okay. How many people are on your list? Or is that private?
No, it's fine. I'm almost to 200 now.
Okay.
So it's still pretty small.
Right.
I haven't put a lot of effort into the mailing list yet. Overall, the marketing to me has been probably one of the most difficult things
Right.
about publishing, just because I don't know a lot about it and I'm still learning. And it just takes so much time,
Right.
especially if you're kind of learning while you go. So yeah, it's small numbers right now, and that's
mean,
okay.
200 people I think it's a good number for people reading your stuff. Because
Right.
Instagram is so easy because you can just scroll past it, but reading, you actually have to sit down and give that person some of your attention.
Yeah, that's very true.
But I remember when I was a kid, that was my favorite thing was like I found an author that I just liked, and I would just try to like read everything they've ever written, like
Oh,
all their
okay.
blogs, all their newsletters and everything. So yeah, I think it's cool to hear that you have like those young fans trying to like what you do. And like you have so much influence over these people,
Mm,
which I think it's a big responsibility, but it's also
it is.
God working through you.
Hmm. Yeah, it's been a blessing. I feel so privileged every time I get to sign somebody's book, or
Yeah.
if somebody tells me, "Hey, I've read your books and I enjoyed them." So, yeah, it's a lot of fun for me to be able to see that.
So where can people buy your books? Is it on Amazon? Just type in the name and it appears.
Yep. You
Okay.
might need to use my name in there as well, because with some of the books, there are more than one with that title.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you type in my title and then at least my last name, then it will come up
Okay.
in Amazon. And then locally, I have them at Bookstaben. There's Wolf Family Bookstore in Nystad,
Mm-hmm.
and a couple other places off and on. So,
Okay. So
but yeah,
could put that
Amazon.
list maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I think when I looked you up, the first thing that came up was your website.
Yes.
So like you have like all your info in there too.
Mhm.
So maybe I'll just link that. And then,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I have my mailing list there where people can sign up, and I think Instagram is linked to there as well. So
no.
everything's on my website.
Oh, very cool. But yeah, like I said, I'm super jealous, but
Well, you can do it too.
yeah, that's the point, right? Like anyone can do it. It's
Yeah.
you just got to do it, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, the way it's set up these days, especially independent publishing, anyone can do it.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of you have to know that it's worth it for you,
Right.
and then just dive into it. And it's very satisfying.
Well, I'm expecting a book now, man.
All right. But hey, I think we'll wrap it up. But thank you for coming on and
Thank you so much for
fun
having me.
conversation.
Yeah. And we wish you much success with everything.
Thank you so
Marriage
much.
coming up, I can say that's a beautiful thing. I got married about 6 months ago,
Okay.
and that's one of the best things that could ever happen. So, yes, definitely
Oh.
something to look forward to.
Thank you. I'm very excited.
Yeah. So, let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up.
Awesome.